How are you?
Yeah, all right. It was just a bit of a mad rush. You had the typical mad.
Morning rush.
Yeah.
I did a bit of the same.
Um,
Didn't want to bring the Lambo today then.
no, I haven't brought the Lambo. No. No. The wife's got the Lambo. Okay, we have breaking news this morning. Justin, who got the coffees?
Well, it had to be me this time, didn't it?
So Justin's got the coffees. We are heading somewhere. We're not going to reveal it yet. All is to come. But the most important thing is Justin got the coffees this morning. So we can give Could we give an overview of what we're going to be talking about?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So here we are. Where are we? We're in Hove.
We are indeed.
So we've booked a studio. We're going to do some filming. We're going to cover a few topics.
Yeah.
What are we covering? Do you want to explain?
We're going to do something a bit different to what we usually do. You know, we always talk about business, investing, and property. We're going to still cover off similar topics, but we're going to have a bit of fun with it today. So we thought it'd be cool we're going to do kind of like a get to know Aaron and Justin, more of like a humorous side with some funny stories. But at the same time, I suppose trying to throw in a bit of education about what we could have done when we were younger, what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and everything in between. So yeah, it should be cool.
Yeah, it should be a good one. So yeah, it should be several videos at least that come out off the back of it. So keep an eye out for them.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I think you have work done?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this clip, in this video, we're going to be talking about Justin's and my top 3 biggest mistakes. So if we could have perhaps rewound time, what would we have done different? And hopefully offers you some value and maybe you can learn actually from the mistakes that we've made and really take that forward, because I think between, what will be 6 mistakes, hopefully there's something in there that you might be looking at the moment and you may not go on to make that mistake from what we're about to explain and the mistakes we've made. So I'll start by asking Justin first, what would be your biggest mistake, one of them?
First one for me was, maybe starting a clothing business. I wanted to start a clothing. It was a fitness clothing business, and I started it 2016. I ran it for 2 years, and then I sold it. And the reason it was perhaps a mistake, I learned a lot from that. So at the same time, it wasn't a mistake. But for me, starting a clothing business was something I wanted to do, but perhaps took my attention away from the overall picture, which was investing in property. Yeah. And I was thinking, what I'll do is I'll build a business, and then I'll use that to, for the cash flow from that, to then buy property. Yeah. Whereas what I had was a realization in 2018 when I sold the business was maybe I should have taken that starting launch funds that I put into the business and actually should have gone straight into property. Yeah. I do think the whole, business cash flow buying property is a good model, but it perhaps wasn't right for me and I should have just gone straight into it.
So just quickly on the back of that, not to go off on one, but do you think now it's becoming more popular for the full-time work and the side hustle? Build the side hustle until the side hustle can take over for cash flow. Cash flow reasons.
That's what I'm now enjoying doing more, is the stability of a full-time job, doing the side hustle and then buying. And that for me is working well right now. And I think a lot of people are doing that as well.
Yeah, I think it's a wise idea, but totally get, your first mistake and how that, it sets you back slightly, doesn't it?
It's like a mistake, but I learned a lot about business at the same time.
Yeah.
But what about you? What would be your first?
So I would say one of my biggest mistakes would be I've invested into multiple things where I didn't really know what I was doing. So I got caught up in the hype and the excitement of someone else's passion and dream.
Yeah.
Because I thought it would pay off because they were so passionate about it. So basically my investment was living through their their information, their desire, their passion about that model.
Yeah.
And I've done that on several occasions through like conversions of vehicles into cocktail bars, to kind of like overnight Airbnb trailers that you could stay at. And although I loved it, I was investing time and money, but it wasn't my passion. And I kind of knew in the back of my head what I wanted to do, but because I could see their passion about it, and they'd also pulled off several of these before, I thought, I'm onto a winner. So I did that several occasions, but one of my biggest mistakes within that was investing into a company where I was receiving really good returns, but I didn't do enough due diligence, because again, I went off the hype of someone else's passion about it. And I should have done more due diligence in the fact, what happens if it goes wrong? Do I really know about this model? Is it for me? And am I investing because this results in what I want to achieve? Does this produce the income or the result to what I see long term? And I didn't do any of that. I just dived in because I got caught in the excitement of becoming an investor, and I just didn't do enough due diligence, and I didn't understand it. So
really looking back, you think perhaps invest into less different things, perhaps go into things in which you were really interested in and had really done the due diligence on as well.
Yeah.
Rather than going for the back of someone else's thought and their passion. And
absolutely.
I like it. Yeah, it's a good tip for other people. There's so many things out there for them to invest in, and people perhaps jump into things too quickly. So it's good advice.
Yeah. And just on the back of that, it's hard not to get caught up in all these different things. So focus on your goal. Yeah.
Okay, like it.
So what would be your second biggest mistake?
Yeah, this one a bit quicker, short one. Just I was 19, just making some good commission selling, real estate, housing in the UK, and I went and bought a Mercedes. I thought I was a baller, and I loved that car and enjoyed driving it. I did many miles in it and owned it for 3 years, maybe, I think. But at the same time, I really paid off the back of that. If I'd known what I know now, I'd have invested that money and I'd probably be ahead. So it's not a mistake. Again, it's perhaps more of a learning thing, and it's a mindset thing. So if you're 18, 19 out there,
that's a really good tip.
Don't buy that Mercedes.
Yeah, that's like a really big one. So that's something that's really common. I can't second Justin enough there. Don't go and buy the flashy car if you couldn't afford a full breakdown, 4 new tyres, and you own it outright. It's biggest drainer. So
big mistake. And I kind of, unless someone has lots of businesses, lots of properties, they've got big cash flow now, actually it's quite obvious to see those that are poor but buying expensive things versus those that are, rich and buying expensive things. So it's getting more obvious.
And also, it's like a status thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why bother what other people think? So that's a great point. It's a great one.
What about you as a second point?
So second biggest mistake that I made, which I wish maybe hadn't been the case, is understanding the true value of partnerships. So again, just a quick point here is that if you're going into a business or you want to start something new, don't look for a partner because perhaps you haven't got the money and you're thinking that the partner will bring the money. Therefore, your possibly really great idea or creative idea that you've come up with, you're going to split 50-50 because you need a partner, or you feel that you need to bring on this other business partner because they have the money or they have something you don't. I wish I'd have stepped back, reevaluated what I wanted, and worked out if I could have done it on my own, because I actually didn't start growing and getting on with what I wanted to do until I actually started on my own and realised that partnership isn't what I needed. I'm not saying that a team or a business partner doesn't work, because they do. It's just that I wish I'd have really sort of sat down and said, do I need to bring on anyone at this stage to share my business, my passion, or could that be further down the line?
It's a really common mistake, and I think a lot of people do that. You bring on a business partner, you go into business just for the funds, whereas actually if you really want a business partner, it should be someone that complements. If you're really good at sales, but you're not so good at the marketing and the operations and setting stuff up, that's who you need to find. If they've got money, great as well. Because but you need to marry up skills rather than necessarily money. If not, go alone.
And it's the agreements. I had no inner working with agreements with original partners or anyone that I worked with. I had no, this ties into the same mistake, but I had no paperwork stating that, right, if it was me and Justin, you're going to take care of this, I'm going to take care of this, and then we're going to write that up and we're both going to sign off on it, because now you've got ownership, I've got ownership. So, and too many people just go in on the handshake and the excitement of, Justin and I really get on. Do you know what? Let's just do a project. But when it comes to business, it should be, there are almost no friends. This is, we need to achieve something. Let's do it. And then outside, we can be friends. We had none of that, and that was a mistake that I made, because ultimately it leads to a road where it didn't work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it's a good one. Yeah.
Third and final point. What's the final one?
Third and final, again, keep it quite quick, but it's actually an ongoing one. So, an ongoing mistake that perhaps I'm still making, and that is that I've never given myself the chance to go all in. I've always given myself an exit strategy, which sounds funny. Why would you not give yourself that? But in terms of, I've never gone all in on something. I've always given myself an exit, like a job, and it's and therefore perhaps I've never thrown myself all in, because I've always had this backup option. And one day I will make that change, and I'm really working hard to get there, and for my hustles to outweigh my job and so on. But it's an ongoing mistake, because if maybe when I was younger, when I had less liabilities and less going on, if I'd taken a step to go all in then on myself, then perhaps I'd be in a different place right now. So
that's a really good point. But then on the flip side, that is also a stability and realistic way of doing it. Instead of going, what a lot of people used to do is just go, right, I'm dropping everything now, I'm going to commit 100%, and then they use up everything they've got, and now they can't pay bills and they can't look after themselves. So
equally, don't do that.
I think it's smart. It's smart management. It's knowing your situation. So I think that's a really valid point, and I think it's the right thing to do. Though
I don't feel bad about it. I just wish perhaps I'd tried something when I was a bit younger. But I'll get there eventually. I know it.
And definitely, I'll second what you just said. If you are still living at home, you're paying a small amount of rent, that's where I would have taken huge amounts of risk to try and speed up that process while you haven't got overheads and a family. So, great point though. Great point.
So, and that leads us on to your third and final.
My final one would be wasted time. So I wish that, I could have seen things coming that perhaps take up a lot of time where productivity could have been elsewhere. And I'm going to use something really simple here, but, it's been in a lot of books. But do you ever hear sort of the saying of, time leverage, in the sense of, let's say we leave here now, we could be doing something really productive that could cause an income or a new business model, instead of going home, cleaning, washing up. So, little things like that. So wasted time. So even to this day, I do have to sit down and say, instead of booking myself in to do that, which perhaps isn't going to be productive or generate some form of income, it's about time management in regards to, I really manage things quite tightly in regards to, they have to be productive what I'm doing. So
I love it. I like that.
There was the saying, Mark Wright said it on the call, didn't he? Don't book yourself in for 10 calls during that day on Zoom if they're not going to be, if there's no results. See, what networking is great, but wasted time. So I wasted a lot of time in my early days going to networking events which I had no benefit. I didn't need to be there. Whereas if I'd have taken all those hours back, we can't stop time. What could I have done with those hours, basically? So there's a lot of wasted hours. Just really evaluate what you're actually booking in and what you're doing, and does it have an outcome? This has an outcome. We have an outcome. So
focus your time where your income generation comes from.
Or creative. Or if you can swap going to meet a friend just to have a general chit chat. I'm not saying don't book that in, but perhaps schedule that purely for the weekends. It's time management. So what could you have done during the week for that hour where you met your friend and you just did nothing? Could you have been sitting there creating ideas, writing things down, structuring, putting your goals? So wasted time would be my final one. So
I like it. Nice one to end on. So and just to say, they're 3 mistakes each, but even though they're mistakes, we've both learned a huge amount from them. So you'll probably have your own mistakes, and it's important to realise where it went wrong and actually what it's added to your life, move on from it. And and I hope this video has been useful, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cool.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.